So Billy, in the first service, after you light all the candles and put out the taper, you want to come over to the holder here. And after you put that in, you want to sit on this side of the sanctuary, on this pew. So that would be the traditional service. For the late service, you would put this back in the sacristy on the hook where you found it. Do you remember where that is, Billy?
I do.
Okay, remember, Billy, that the whole congregation can see you when you're sitting up here. So you really should behave while you're up here, meaning sit up straight, pay attention, don't fall asleep, and especially don't be texting on your cell phone. So Billy, when it's offering, you grab the plates from the shelf right next to you, and you bring it out to the ushers, who will be standing right here. And usually there's 4 of them. And from the bottom, you just place it in their hands. You go across to the last one, then you stand in front of them and bow, and then they'll go out.
And what happens when they come back? What do you do?
You wait till Pastor takes the plates from them, and then he will bless them, and then you come out and take them from Pastor.
Where do you put them?
You put them back on the shelf that you got them from. So Billy, if it's a traditional service, you're going to have to help Pastor by grabbing the flowers from the altar. Now remember, the base is pretty heavy, so be ready for that. You put the flowers on the shelf next to where you got the offering plates from. And they stay there for the rest of the service. Now after Pastor has blessed the bread and wine, we all come up together and have communion together. The Acolyte, the Crucifer, and any of the people helping with communion. So Billy, after Pastor has given us communion, we'll stand, and you'll grab the cups from anyone who needs to give them to you, and we'll bring them over and put them in the bowl. And then you'll sit down till the end of the service. So Billy, when it's the last song, you want to stand up, grab the snuffer, and after about the first verse of the song, you'll want to go out and put out all the candles. Now remember, Billy, to bow. And you don't have to squish the candle, just have to come down a little bit on it to make it go out. About 2 to 3 seconds. You come back out, you bow, and then you extinguish any other candles that are lit in the sanctuary. Always remembering that the Christ candle is extinguished last.
And that's the middle one.
That's the middle one, Billy. And after that, you come back over to this side and you wait for the crucifer to carry the cross out. And then you follow him out. But remember, you need to bow one last time at the altar and follow him out.
And that's the guy who carries the cross.
And that's the guy who carries the cross, Billy. Don't do that, Billy. This is the correct way of doing it. And at the end of the service, the crucifer will turn around right by the balcony, and you'll follow him out and just stand right behind him until the service comes to an end and Pastor says his final blessing. And at that point, you can bring the snuffer back to the back sacristy, hang your robe up neatly, and then you're done.
So Mari-Beth, what do I do when I'm scheduled to be the crucifer?
Well, Billy, the crucifer, although it's a pretty easy job, it's one of the most important jobs. Your job is to carry the cross into the sanctuary. And it's the first thing everyone sees. So it's really important to hold the cross high all the way up. But remember, because you have the cross in your hand, you don't have to bow with it. There's two ways of holding the cross. You can hold it just like this, if that feels comfortable for you, or like this. And whichever way makes you able to hold the cross really high is the way you should go with. Nice and slow up the aisle. It's not a race, Billy. Be careful on the stairs. Stand in front of the altar for a second to show respect and bring the cross back to its holder. Sometimes the holder is in the corner and you'll have to bring it there. And sometimes it's closer. So wherever the holder is where you put the cross. Now, Billy, remember that it's only in the early service that the cross is carried down the aisle. In the late service, we only have an acolyte. So Billy, in the late service, you don't have to wear a robe, and you get to sit with your family. You do all the same things and light the candles, but it's just a little different. You grab the snuffer from the back on the hook, you light the candles, you put the snuffer back on the hook, and while pastor's doing announcements, you walk up to grab the offering plates. And you do offering, and then you go back and sit down. And at the end of the service, you get up, put out the candles, and then you're done. Sometimes, Billy, you might have to be acolyte and crucifer. And if you have to do that, here's how you do it. Before the service starts, light all the candles, and then carry the cross through the sacristy, and then carry it down the aisle. Then you're acolyte for the rest of the service, and at the end, you put out the candles, and you carry the cross down the aisle. And that's how you would do both jobs. So after the acolyte finishes putting out the candles, you go up to the cross and take it out of its holder. Hold it nice and high. And you come down the aisle. Be careful on the stairs. And right down the middle. At the back of the sanctuary, you want to turn around and hold on to the cross until the very end of the service, when pastor does the blessing. At that point, you carry the cross respectfully back through the concourse, through the sacristy, and back in its holder. And then you're done being crucifer for the day.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow, well, thank you for teaching me how to be an acolyte and crucifer, Mari-Beth.
You're welcome, Billy. I hope you learned a lot.
You rock.